Assistant Chief Perry actually submitted this nomination. I'm going to read this letter, and then I'll have Ms. Demick come up here. The Stallings Police Department believes in the recognition of both police officers and the members of the community and their actions in service to the community. In keeping with this belief, the Stallings Police Department recognizes town resident Susan Demick for her efforts to keep Stallings a better place to work and live. Over the past 2 years, Ms. Demick has been seen by many members of the Stallings Police Department walking along our roads picking up trash. It is admirable when a person occasionally picks up trash in the community. Ms. Demick demonstrates this on another level. On any given day, she can be seen on Stallings Road, Old Monroe Road, or any other road in town, donning her bright safety vest. She spends most of her mornings picking up trash on the side of the streets in Stallings. When asked why she spends so much time picking up the trash left behind by others, her response was simple. Ms. Demick stated that she is proud to be a resident of Stallings and wants the town to look as nice as possible. Ms. Demick's attitude and willingness to spend her personal time and energy improving Stallings exemplifies what a good citizen looks like. For this reason, we commend and thank Ms. Demick for a job well done. I'd like to have Susan Demick come up and receive a plaque from Citizen Commendation Award from the Police Department.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Sue.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get one of those. I'm gonna get one of those one day. I'm gonna get one of those. I'm not gonna do trash. It's already been taken.
You want to stay?
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All righty, next up is our consent agenda, and I want to pull off E, since we have the folks from Smith here, and they've presented a nice package, and, it's, you know, when we spend this much money, I'd like to have a little time spent on it. So let's make that one 3A. And when we get to agenda approval, we'll go over the other ones, though. So anybody have any discussion on the consent agenda? Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended, moving E to 3A.
All right. Motion by Mr. Ayers, second by Mr. Show. All in favor? Aye. And just raise your hand, Taylor Rave, so you don't have to talk there. All right. I don't have any report. We'll start. Graham, anything report tonight?
I took my daughter and nephew to the splash pad the other week, now that it's reopened, and they had a wonderful time. So thanks to all the hard work put in by staff to get that back up, and it seems to be very popular for the kids. And other than that, I have nothing.
All right. Taylor Ray? All right. Stephen?
Mayor, the only thing that I wanted to bring up is that, and I kind of talked this over with Alex a little bit, it's just a reminder that out of the last 3 meetings that for WUMA, I've actually had to miss 2 of them due to work commitments. Just, if that continues to be a trend, we'll probably need to take and find somebody that might be able to make that, because they do have them during normal work days, hours. And so I was not able to make the WUMA meeting for June. So with that, we do not have one for July, though August will actually be here at Stallings. And so I don't have a report for them.
Well, are they meeting at that time because none of them have jobs, or are they just, that's convenient for them, or?
I think some of them have jobs that are either self-employed, so they're pretty flexible.
Okay.
And then I think, a couple of them are probably retired or,
Gotcha.
yeah.
All right. Well, appreciate your service on that, though, but just let us know. We'll take your lead on it.
Okay, I just wanted to,
If you know you're not going to be able to make one, would it be appropriate to just put a note out to us and see if one of us can fill in for you?
I'll take and try to do that. Unfortunately, the 2 that I've missed here lately, I've only known about it like 30 or 45 minutes before
That's pretty tight. But
yeah, especially when it's
I'm pretty flexible with
Okay.
what I'm doing, so
I'll send out an email and let folks know.
All right.
if it's okay, I might come in August just to,
Well,
since it's here. I don't want to go to Marvin, but here.
as the case would be, the reason why I'm bringing it up is that move-in week for NC State is actually the week that it's actually supposed to be here, and depending on our time slot, I might actually I might actually miss the meeting that's actually held here. So that would be 3 in the last 4 months. So I'm just letting folks know that I may need to take in, if my regular job continues to be as hectic as it is, might need to have somebody substitute for a while.
All righty. David?
The advanced leadership class that I was taking through the School of Government, that was supposed to be last February. I might have forgot to tell y'all, but it got postponed due to COVID, and it is now rescheduled, or has been rescheduled. I know I definitely forgot to tell you that, at the end of July for the first week of August. So some of you may have gotten an email or something from them about me. Please be nice. But yeah, I'll be gone that week in Chapel Hill doing advanced leadership training.
Okay.
Nothing for me, Mayor.
All right. All right. Alex, you got anything for us tonight?
Thank you. Yes, sir. Two quick things. Good evening, everybody. First, I want to echo Councilmember Hall's statement about the splash pad. I've been in there recently with my 3-year-old and my 2-year-old, and they just have a fun time. And I actually got in a little bit too. It's hard not to. I want to recognize our park staff and public works staff for their work. Ms. McSwain, Mr. Price, Ryan, Chuck, Henry. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. But that splash pad is so highly intensive and needy for the attention it requires, and they really do a great job keeping it open. And secondly, I want to recognize Mr. Shong to introduce our new code enforcement officer.
Thanks. So we have a new code enforcement officer, Ruben Ortiz. I'm very happy and thankful that he's working here. And
Mayor, Town Council, Ruben Ortiz, going on almost a decade in code enforcement between building as well as ordinances, solid waste. Happy to be on board, happy to be part of the team, and look forward to bring my experience and to the town. Positive out of it.
All right. Welcome.
Welcome. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All righty. Any of the chief, do you have any report for us, or units, any of the town departments have anything they want to bring us up to date on? Brian? Nothing? Okay. Let's see. Melanie, anything you need to bring to our attention in open session?
The governor signed the budget into law today, and part of that had a provision about remote meetings. And starting August 15th, the state of emergency is going to no longer be in place, which means we no longer have the ability to have remote meetings
No longer?
as of August 15th, unless there's another emergency or some special legislation.
Did it give a reason why?
I mean, because the COVID numbers are down. It
Well, the
would be-
COVID numbers are down, but, in our case, like it last week, I mean, we had a remote meeting and it benefited the town, so I don't understand
Right, no, I think it's definitely something to talk to the legislatures about.
well, maybe after he's out, we'll do that, so. All right, thank you, Melanie. All righty, agenda approval. So let's see, we're gonna move the Stallings Park grass cutting to 3A. And then we need to add police car acquisition that you all got the email on, and it's printed out here. We'll make that 3B. So the chief doesn't have to hang around for the whole meeting if you don't want to, so. All righty, any other changes or, oh, and then Mr. Hall, is that correct? We're gonna take off the Oktoberfest discussion?
Yes.
Okay. And then y'all all got the email on number 8 that the legal department has advised staff to take off the condemnation. And Alex, did you want to give any update on that, or?
Just appreciate the consideration. There are a couple of things we want to kind of tighten up just to make sure we're doing everything well, and we anticipate bringing that back in the near future.
Okay. All righty.
Mayor, Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the following exceptions. We're going to add item 3A, Stallings Park grass cutting, and 3B, purchase of 4 police vehicles. We're also going to remove item number 8 and item number 12.
All right, got a motion from Mr. Richardson, second by Mr. Shaw. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, ayes have it, unanimous. All righty, we'll do 3A. Smith folks? You're up.
Let Eunice talk.
I'm not really sure this, what, I was just told,
Are you Eunice?
Yeah, we put this together.
It's gonna be on the consent.
Well, yeah, because I saw this nice presentation. Anytime we spend 26-some thousand dollars, I'd like to have some discussion about it.
Yeah. I can kind of break it down for them and you guys can jump in.
There we go.
Yeah, so kind of what we're dealing with, you guys, right now is we're looking to outsource Stallings Municipal Park for the grass cutting. Smith is already taking
29,000.
over Blair Mill. They're doing our roadsides and they're also already doing our town hall campus. So the reasoning behind this was to open our staff for a little more opportunities to focus on the splash pad. We've actually had to take back our splash pad hours due to the intensive maintenance that is just needed over there in the park. And I think you guys know that that was the reason for taking Blair Mill off of our plate as well. So what we've done is we've reached out to Smith. We have made this contract with them. There's a few things that we're still working on. I know with the town attorney that we'd like to tweak a little bit, but pretty much what we've finally come down to is the $29,820 annual price for them to do everything in the park, and that goes into, and it's in y'all's packets, the turf management and tree and shrub care. And then also in their packet, they have options for mulching that I know they've done over there in the past, and that could be an added on. They kind of threw this in just for you guys to see what that would look like. But as far as this contract goes, it would just be for the turf management and the tree and shrub care. We kind of wanted to bring them in here today because I know there was some concerns in the past about the occurrence of the grass cutting, specifically at Blair Mill from the Parks and Rec side. But to our understanding, there were some staff shortages that I think have been worked out. I think we can all kind of get behind that train of where we're going with that. So we've worked with Brian, with their team to get everything a little more cohesive. And we're just asking you guys for us to move forward contingent on these changes with Melanie to get this going, you know, as quick as possible so we can really focus on that splash pad operational schedule. And he's pretty much here to answer any questions that you guys have that, you know, is a little outside of our realm of this.
Now, the equipment we have to maintain the grounds, will we sell it, still keep it, or do we have any equipment that does that?
We have some equipment right now. I think it would probably be in our best interest to keep it. Right now, as the contract goes, either of us have 30 days to kind of step away. So if anything were to happen to these guys, you know, knock on wood, it would be, I think, not in our best interest to get rid of this equipment if in a pinch we needed to do something for the town.
All right. Any questions for Eunice or?
Is that the end of the contract, Eunice, or Mr. what was your name?
Sean.
Sean, does it automatically renew? Is there an escalation of price? Has that already been decided, or is it just negotiable in a year?
It does renew. There's a couple of options if you wanted to go with a 2 to 3 year contract and save a little bit of money, not a tremendous amount, but it's something. So I can get with Brian or Eunice and discuss that a little further, just kind of depending on how you'd like to do it.
Okay.
We could even set something up for a, just to let you know, hey, your contract's coming up for due. We don't usually do that. We just let it roll unless there's problems, but we kind of work it any way we can.
I can tell you, we review the contracts about 90 to 120 days before they renew. We have a 3% automatic renewal in our contracts. A multi-year contract will do 2%. So this year has been a little bit different when it comes to, you know, fuel. Do that, costs have increased by about 200%. In some places, but, and of course, labor, we all know it's gone about 40% over the last 4 years, so, but we still pretty much, we've been in the Charlotte, or Stallings area really for 30 years, so, and we've kind of got through our labor shortage. We're in the H-2B program, so our guys, usually, we're supposed to be by mid-April, and this year we got them 2 weeks ago. So we've had 45 new employees in the last week and a half, so we're in a good place now as labor-wise. And they'll stay with us till December 15th, and I also have 19 more coming in October. They guarantee me those guys for the first year. We're gonna be in the same boat we were in this year.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Eunice?
Yes, Eunice, you know, I've been monitoring or paying attention to Blair Mill in particular.
Right.
Are you satisfied that the ongoing maintenance will be up to your standards, our standards?
I believe so. I think now with, their new workers in place, and I think there's some other things too that we might have to outsource from Smith in the future or bring in-house. More like the hillsides out there, I know can get a little rough.
I knew that, but I wasn't worried about that. I just took a
Right.
walk to the other side, right through the flat area, and I was walking through shin high
Right.
above my ankles, and I'm like, that's not what we paid for.
Right, exactly. And I think that was the issue that happened, I would say probably 2 to 3 weeks ago, correct?
Yep.
And I think what happened was, it went a period of time without getting cut, and then it came by, got one sweep. And that was what I've been working with Brian and you guys, to kind of fix. And I think that just goes back to us setting that standard. And I think we finally laid it out that, in the past, I think Blair Mill has kind of been overlooked. And I think we're really starting to get some eyes on that area of town. So I think we're finally at a place where we've built this standard of how we want it to be for the future.
Right.
So I have full confidence that I do believe that they're gonna get this job done, definitely to a better standard that we could as a town.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I will say that I've gotten feedback. I mean, obviously, some of the roads that they tackle are right around District 5. I've gotten good feedback. Matter of fact, the lady thanked me for making sure we were cutting the roads down there. And I said, well, thank those guys behind you. They're the ones that are doing it. So,
And then, Alex and Eunice, we're in month 1 of our new budget. And this wasn't, was this included in the budget?
Was, yes, sir. This is part of the plan.
Mhm. Okay,
We should be good.
all right. Well, any other questions?
Just a quick one. Does this include insect and disease control?
It does not, because we never know if we're gonna need that, and rather than put it in there, end up not needing it, have to give you a refund or some kind of credit. We just watch for it and wait to see it coming and let you know.
And then we would be charged for that separately?
Correct.
Okay.
And if you'd like, we can give you a list of the most common. We don't usually do it because we can run with it as long as you want.
Yeah.
So, we can pick out a few and just kind of let you know what you might be looking at if we do run into that. As far as, grubs and things like that, Blair Park and Stallings Park, I don't know if there's a lot to worry about with those kind of, insects and that kind of thing. We'll watch the shrubbery for disease control and that kind of thing. Without having that in the contract at this point. I wouldn't request it in my contract if I was making your decision for what it is.
All right, anybody else? Okay, get a motion? What's the pleasure of the council?
I'll move approval of the one-year contract with Smith Turf and Irrigation for adding the Stallings Town Park to the contract.
Yeah, that works, and just if you don't mind making contingent on any town attorney approval and changes.
That motion contingent upon any town attorney approval changes upon review. Did I not say that right? What'd I say? Smith Grounds Management.
All right,
Smith Turf and Irrigation.
close enough.
Is that a competitor?
They're actually golf course supply and storage, but they're.
All right, sorry. We want you guys. We want you guys.
We get it all the time.
All right, got a motion by Mr. Richardson,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Hall. All in favor?
All right.
aye.
And the ayes have it. All right, thank you for coming out. Thank you, Eunice. All right. All right, next up is the Chief Franks talking about the police cars that are in the budget.
Evening again.
Evening.
Yes, as the mayor just said, in the budget, there's funds approved to purchase new police cars. As when I came to you last year, we were having trouble trying to find police cars. We shockingly found 4 cars at the state vendor. We were able to get them to hold on to those for us, so we have 4 cars. State contract price, which is just under $33,000, well within our budget. It'll still allow us to do the upfit that needs to be done, along with selling some of our old cars and using those revenues from selling the old police cars to help fund the upfit.
And it's not in here. Do we need to do anything else on top of this, Melanie or Alex?
No, sir. I think you just need, we would request for town council just to approve the purchase of the 4 vehicles.
Okay. Got any questions for Chief?
What kind? Just out of curiosity.
Dodge Durango.
Durangos, all right. V6s.
Turbo.
All right, can I get a motion on this?
No Hemis.
Make a motion that we approve the police car acquisition of 4 vehicles.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Scholl, second by Mr. Ayers. All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Chief. All righty. Next up is Annexation 56, Castle Bridge Lane. I'll open the public hearing and turn it over to Aaron.
Yes, sir. I don't believe there's anyone here to speak on it tonight, but this is to approve the annexation on Castle Bridge Lane, which is in the neighborhood of Madison Ridge. I can show you, this is the parcel report from the Union County GIS. The parcel here outlined in red is the parcel that we're discussing, and the areas in pink are currently in the town of Stallings. Madison Ridge is located off of Stallings Road. The school would be down here, where if you can see the cursor. This is Stallings Road, and then you turn in Madison Ridge right here, and it's back in this neighborhood at this parcel highlighted in red. I do not believe the owners are here this evening. He did indicate, the owner who requested this indicated to me he would like to be in the town of Stallings for garbage service.
So the dilemma I have is the 2 parcels next to him are not in Stallings.
The 2 right here are not, but he does back up
Right.
to Stallings.
And so the other ones across the street, it's just Union County?
Yes, sir. So Madison Ridge is an interesting neighborhood. We just know about it because we get questions about it all the time. Some of it is in unincorporated, some of it is in Stallings, and I believe the very end tip is in Matthews.
Yeah.
So it becomes quite interesting when it comes to garbage service, street lights, all kinds of stuff. People get really confused, which understandably so, because there's 3 entities in there.
What's your concern, Mayor, about the 2 lots
It's just,
beside this odd, beside
it's just
the strangeness of it?
yeah, just the strangeness of it. You know, I understand he backs up to one and the other 2, you know, what I'd love to have is all 3 of them would come to us at one point as a bundle and.
Yeah, it would be.
And it'd be simple.
I would imagine they'll, once they figure out what he just did, the others will come in. I mentioned, you weren't here, but I mentioned the last time, one of my golf team kids lives on that cul-de-sac that's just up at the top of that. And they're split. If you could zoom in on that area there, they're split. And part of their bedroom was in Union County, the other part was in Mech. I think it was Mech. So they were technically Union County, but not in Stallings. They wanted to be.
That house right there.
No, it's to the right. Yeah, it must have been that one. Kind of weird. Yeah, that's the one. It was split right there. Anyhow, I would imagine once they start figuring this out, and we can't approach them and annex them, but once they figure out what one's done, the others will be interested.
Well, Melanie, can we advise him that the reason, if the council decides if we turn him down, we'd like for his 2 neighbors to join, can he contact them? Is that legal with the new annexation laws? Just give him a reason why and tell him?
I mean, you don't have to give him a reason why. It's up to the board. You just know we can't force the other 2 to come in.
Right. Yeah.
So what's the downside of doing this? He's gonna pay, I think, Alex, you and I figured out, what was it, $58 a month?
Yeah, it's $694 a year, roughly.
And that is less than it costs us to service him with garbage at least, right? I would assume, much less.
His taxes would be $694.
To get garbage service. Yeah, the only concern I had, and Alex and I talked about it, he'd already thought about it, are there any other issues that we would be on the hook for? Is the property strange in any way from a stormwater perspective? Is he having any issues? And this is sort of a way to get the town to start paying for some unusual things. And Alex, after investigation, didn't seem to think there was anything unusual. It seems to be just a pure ask for garbage service. I'm okay with it because it will make revenue for the town, won't cost us anything, and it may encourage some neighbors to do it. So I would support it, even though it is a little strange.
Yeah.
If he's eligible. I think he's eligible by virtue of being adjacent to an existing.
That's right. He's touching it. So I'll note, had a good conversation with several council members today. And one of the concerns was, hey, we want to make sure that if we're taking them in, that there's not some sort of unknown problem that when we took them in, would suddenly become the town's problem by effect, everybody else in the community's problem to fix. So went by with one of our stormwater engineers, looked into it. It's a really nice lot. I don't say that as a real estate agent. It's really flat. It's got nice drainage on it. They've got a great flat backyard. It looks great. It's clearly well maintained. And in looking at the Powell bill maps, none of the roads right around here are town roads. They're state roads, so it's not our town right of way from a stormwater issue. And we pulled the plats. The plat shows no stormwater drainage easements that we could find. So I don't anticipate any concerns, at least in that regard.
Well, the funny thing is, $694. I don't know how much private garbage costs now, but when I got annexed in 2003, I could buy private garbage service pretty cheaper than the town's taxes. Now granted, you get more than just garbage service, you get everything else, but Brian tried to convince me of all that, but I didn't know him very well at that time, so that was confusing.
Sure.
So if he just wants the garbage, I don't know if he's an elderly gentleman.
I was gonna ask.
I've only spoken with him, so I can't
So,
deduce.
so I don't want to overanalyze it, so I'll turn it over to the council. It's, I can go either way.
I'll move it.
Everybody's asked the same questions based on what I heard.
You can close the public hearing yet?
No, not yet.
It's, well,
We can't do it.
Well, I'll chime in. Now, when I talked to Alex earlier, you hadn't actually walked the property. So I think I'm echoing a lot of concerns, and that would be, before taking it on, I would like us to at least have walked it or seen it in person. Because again, you don't want to take something on. What if you walk through the backyard and there's a giant sinkhole, and now that's our sinkhole? You can't see it on the satellite photo. That's just my
All right.
opinion.
All right, well, I'll close the public hearing since nobody's here to talk, and then, why don't we do that? Why don't we, send Brian or you, Alex, or whoever you pick, to investigate the lot and come back to us in, August.
You want to table it, I guess?
Yeah,
Table the item?
Table it
Okay,
till
we'll
August.
go and we'll check it out and we'll see if there's anything open and obvious.
yeah, since you closed the public hearing, that part is fine. We don't have to do any re-advertisement. It's fine. We'll just put on the agenda next time for the ordinance
Okay,
adoption decision.
all right.
Just so I'll know, how is trash handled for those unincorporated parcels? Do they take it to the dump themselves, or is there a private service?
It's up to you. I live in an unincorporated, and it's up to you. You have to either contract with
your.
a garbage company
Okay.
independently or take it to the dump.
Yeah, in fact,
And it's well over.
Several on that street use waste management because they're already there.
Okay, so they just,
They have a
that
contract.
they have the
with
cans out there similar to ours, just.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've been back there, I went back there the last time this was up, 2 weeks ago, and it's a nice area of.
Yeah, it's a nice
Stallings.
neighborhood, yeah. All righty, thank you, Aaron. All right, next up is number 5, the text amendment 22.0501. Max? Good evening.
Council. So today, I'm here with text amendment TX 220501. Edgar Gary and Teresa Moya Mendez submitted a text amendment to amend the table of uses to allow floor covering and upholstery sales in Marcus Room as an S 10.1-36, which means that's an allowed use with supplementary regulations that they can't have outside storage unless they have over 5 acres. The zoning is, they are applying for the S and VSR, which is Vehicle Service and Repair District. There's only 8 parcels of that in town. The future land use plan for this property identifies this as a suburban commercial center, which has more commercial uses. So since it has more commercial uses, staff recommends approval. It is consistent with the comprehensive. Do you have any questions?
All right, any questions for Max? Yes, Stephen?
So this is, I might be misremembering, so I apologize, but this is the import car dealership down here, right?
I have an applicant here if you'd like to talk to them.
Well, I think we've spoke on the phone, and I guess at that time, it sounded like we were gonna, like, just, my understanding is that they have to come and do this process each time that they get a new vendor for that part of their building. So I thought that the idea was at that time to kind of change the overall zoning of that shop. Was it better to go continue to go this route?
Simpler. So if they did a rezoning, let's say we were talking about mixed use 2, or industrial, they wouldn't allow, the car business would be grandfathered in. They wouldn't be allowed, like if the car business left, they wouldn't.
I gotcha.
So that's their primary interest is the car business.
Right.
They have another space as well.
Okay, I was just curious, I mean, why things kind of shifted back. I was just curious.
And the parcels, the other units beside them are vacant, right?
Next to the car dealership?
Yeah.
Or the car repair place? It is, that's the vacant area where they want to do the market showroom.
Right, so this is an improvement.
Then the car repair maybe?
No, an improvement of being vacant.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yes, yeah.
I believe they own the whole building.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to hear from them. I don't,
they're here.
I'm having trouble figuring out which parcel it is and which building. We may have met. Thank you for coming. Just talk about your business and what the,
Before we do that, can we open the public hearing?
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you, Melanie. Yep, I'll open it, thank you.
You want to read the top?
they didn't have the
Yeah,
address.
Teresa, could you come up to the microphone, or Gary?
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
Teresa Moya Mendez.
Hello.
It's at Industrial Drive and Stallings Road. We have owned the building for 31 years. We bought it in 1991. And we have had our import repair business there. But there are actually 3 separate entrances to the building. It's 6,000 square feet. We use 4,000 square feet for the auto repair, and then there's 2,000 square feet that we have always rented out. But since this vehicle repair zoning got put in, you know, we have to come, because we've been here before, when another tenant, he did prosthetics, and when COVID hit, of course, you know, he kind of went under. But anyway, so to rent that extra 2,000 square feet, we don't want to rent it to our competition. I mean, that wouldn't make sense for us to rent it to someone else who works on cars. So, we try to find, and the Marquezes do flooring, and so they want to put a little showroom, in that, maybe 400 square foot, office space there, and then have storage in the back, where the bay door is on the side.
So the new business is upholstery sales, do I have that
And
right?
Flooring.
Flooring, okay.
Yeah, I think that it's just that floor covering and upholstery sales is.
All together, okay, so,
It's the whole line, yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
So floor covering with the floor covering showroom,
right,
got it,
right.
beside the auto service repair, okay.
This
It's,
this is the first building. after
Yeah, I
the
just
house.
pulled it up, I had trouble figuring which one
Yeah.
it was, but now I see.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Teresa. Any other questions for Teresa or Max? All right. I'll close the public hearing. Any other discussion?
I'll just say that unfortunately, her husband's a car guy, and we got on the phone, and y'all know how I am.
All
So
right.
I think we were on the phone for like 2 hours.
Sorry about
So,
that, Gary.
Yeah. So,
All right, what's the pleasure of the council? Can I get a motion?
I'll let Steve do it since he.
I'll make a motion to approve text amendment TX 22.05.01.
Motion by Mr. Ayers, second by Mr. Show. All in?
Can he do the statement of consistency and reasonableness at the same time?
No, I've already done them separate, yeah. So all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Statement of consistency and reasonableness. The request is to amend the Stallings Development Ordinance to amend Article 8, Table 8.1, Table of Uses to allow floor covering or upholstery and market showroom with supplemental regulations in the vehicle service and repair VSR zoning district. So can I get a motion to approve this?
I
As
move
written.
to approve the statement of consistency and reasonableness.
Motion by Mr. Hall, seconded by Taylor Ray. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you. All right. Gary and Teresa, thank y'all for coming in. Appreciate y'all's business.
Best of luck.
thank you.
Oh, is it,
Yeah, they're the ones opening the business.
oh, okay. Wish I had met them. Should have introduced them. All right, next up, Max, is text amendment 22.06.01. I'll open the public hearing.
Yeah, sorry, I started speaking before you.
No problem.
Last time. All right, so this is TX 220601. So it is to amend and clarify the duties and responsibilities of planning board. We brought this before you in February, and council asked for our planning board to review it. They have since approved this with no recommendations. And it's also now even more consistent with 160B and consistent with the text amendment in February with the 7 members and 2 alternates as well.
And Mac help you put this together?
Mac?
Yep.
The computer's acting kind of strange, I apologize.
Yeah, we heard there was a glitch today, no problem.
Do you have any questions about the text amendment? It's, there are not many changes.
Steve?
I was just going to ask, do we have a new chairman now?
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
We do.
Bob Kohler.
Okay, okay.
And then Lori, I don't know how to say her last name, W.
It might be Wozniak or something like that.
She's our vice chair.
Okay.
Do we have any open slots?
We do, we have 2.
2 open slots, okay. All right. Any questions about the text changes? Max? All right, I'll close the public hearing. Any other further discussion? David, can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the amended duties and responsibilities of the planning board.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Hall. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, unanimous. Thank y'all. All right, so then the second part of this is the statement of consistency and reasonableness, and then we got number 7 there, so. All right, I'll read this. The statement of consistency. Amend the Stallings Development Ordinance to amend Article 8, Table 8. No, that's the wrong one. Why is that there? I don't see the statement of reasonableness for this one.
It looks to be, the order is, interesting, let me see. It's underneath the, I just have it up on the screen.
All right, there it is. I'll read it real quick. The amendment, the request
Yeah,
is,
that's the one that we
yeah,
just
that's the
did.
one we just did, yeah. So it's out,
I'm scrolling.
Looks like there's two of the same ones.
Yeah, it
it's
looks like,
two of the same one.
yeah.
So the top hasn't changed. I
Yeah.
apologize about that. I think I might have just copied and
Do
pasted.
you have a hard copy?
I don't have a card copy of it, but, it's for, TX. I just forgot to change the request.
Okay,
Max, as long as you read out what you want it to state and they adopt it, then we have the record and we're okay.
okay.
So,
You say it, we'll say so moved.
okay, so this will be the statement of consistency for TX 220601 for an ordinance to amend, Article 4.2-1 through 4.2-5 to clarify and update the duties and responsibilities of the Stallings Planning Board and to harmonize the development ordinance with 32.10 of the town code. The reasoning is it's a simple, efficient, practical way to address the inconsistency between the development ordinances, the other adopted ordinances of the town, policies and practices.
So moved.
All right, motion by Mr. Scholl to approve the changes in the duties and responsibilities of the planning board.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Hall. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. So now I'm confused, Max, on, did we already approve 7, the ordinance amendment to the town code?
No, this is now just a, another amendment just to make everything in harmony. So everything will stay the same thing with this, with the, if the code of ordinances passed with that. Let me pull that up. So I can go ahead and present. Do they have to open a public hearing?
No.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So this is an for the code of ordinances. It's also for planning board. It, instead of required, it's changing to boards defined by statute. And the main thing to take notice is that the purpose and objective, in accordance with state law, the planning board may, at the request of town council,
Mm-hmm.
and then everything that's crossed out is replaced with the exact language from 160D about planning board.
Okay, so I got it now. So what we're looking for here is, this is an ordinance to update the duties and responsibilities of the Stallings Planning Board to match the provisions of Chapter 160D of North Carolina General Statutes. All right, can I get a motion on that, or any questions for Alex? I mean, Max? All right, can I get a motion, please,
Since this is your,
to approve what I just said?
So,
I'll do it. So moved.
Motion by Mr. Richardson, second by Mr. Scholl. All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. All righty. All righty, we've deleted condemnation ordinance, so now we're down to the Union County's transit study.
Okay, so a few weeks ago, I was contacted by Union County Planning Department, and they just completed a Union County transit study that identified additional demand interest. They currently have 2 public transportation options, a dial-a-ride service and an express bus service. This study had 850 responses, and about 20 of the respondents were Stallings. The main point that they contacted me for is to inquire if Stallings would be willing to contribute funds to help expand these transit services and the microtransit and the local circulator service in Stallings. Next step was to bring it to council, and we're seeking direction. So if you're interested in prioritizing, we're interested in two things. Whether or not the town council is interested in prioritizing the light rail, or if you're interested in also with contributing funds for the microtransit and local circulator services. If you are interested in that, we are requesting that the county develop a business proposal.
Gotcha. Now, and when Alex brought it to me, I asked him, have they told you how much they're looking for, or is this is,
A very rough verbal number, yes, $15,000 to $30,000. I'm hoping it's about 15,000 because I'm looking for grants
right, all right, thank you.
a year.
Well, I'll go ahead and give you my 2 cents worth. Yeah, I think the county's mismanaged their money recently, and if they have this program, if they're spending roughly another 30 million some dollars on another police training facility. They spend more money on the law enforcement. You would think this is Chicago, the county we're living in as much money, you know. I'm all for public safety, but enough's enough. And so now for them they don't have a program that actually benefits the citizens. They don't have enough money to pay for it. That's just mismanagement of your money. And it's 15,000 they're asking all the towns, so it's probably $100,000 grant. And if they don't have $100,000, that's just total mismanagement. So I wouldn't support this. So I'll turn it over to the rest of the council. Any questions for Max?
So I'll play devil's advocate. I think that Stallings probably has the most to gain from the light rail system coming here, because it's probably only gonna come through Stallings and Indian Trail. And politics being what it is, my only concern would be is that if we go to them and say, nah, we're not interested in potentially helping out here, that politics are gonna come into play, and they're gonna potentially be like, well, we don't see any reason to help you guys out get the light rail. That's the only thing that came to mind.
And the board's gonna change in November, the county commissioners.
Okay.
So maybe we address it then, but with the current board, I have no desire to help them, and they're not gonna vote to help us on the light rail. They've already made that clear.
Yeah.
So until we have new people on the council, you know, Stoney might still win, but we got, you know, Melissa and Brian Helms, you know, but don't know where they stand on it. But secondly, I thought about that, but I certainly don't like to be held hostage. That, you know, a billion-dollar project stemming on $15,000 donation.
Yeah.
That's-
That was the only reason why I came up when I was talking with Alex.
Well, the other thing I asked Alex, I said, this is something Atrium might pay for. Bring more people to their facility.
Possibly.
I mean, they got the doctor building right next door that's got all the, you know, the regular doctors, internal medicine, you know, cancer doctors and things like that. And so if it's just $15,000, we go to them and say, hey, here's a program. We all interested in helping out. So I just don't think I know only 20 people responded, but I just think spending $15,000 to $30,000 to help people outside of Stallings is just too much money, especially when we know things are a little tight this year. But that's my 2 cents. I'll shut up now.
Through the COG, I'm on the Metropolitan Transit Committee, one of the committees, and the bus services is one of them that we've been talking about a lot lately. One of the things is I'm not really sure I want to throw any money at this just yet. I mean, I like the idea of rapid transit or bus services that is nonstop, but they've had such a problem with their staffing issues that I'm not sure, being as far out as we are, we might be one of the last, or first ones cut and last ones to get good service. And I think one of the downfalls of any service, transit service, is regular, has to be regular, frequent enough to make sense. Otherwise, you're just gonna catch, if they only do one trip in the morning and one trip in the afternoon, maybe, you can't leave people stranded. And you can't leave people trying to get to work at the last minute, find their bus isn't coming. That's just, until they figured out a better way, I'm not too excited about throwing even a little bit. And I agree with your talk about or discussion about the 15 grand just to keep them interested in helping us. I don't think honestly don't think they will anyway, but I hope they do. But I'm kind of like, I didn't know the number until tonight, because I'd asked Alex earlier today. Once they have a number, maybe we can talk about what we want to do. I'm interested in talking, but even 15 grand, as I was thinking about this through the day, again, there's staffing issues and we're last on the totem pole for giving good service, I would think.
All right, any other comments?
What I don't see is anything that resembles a plan, and I think that was your recommendation. If anything, go back and say, we don't have enough here to even evaluate it. I don't think we do. So if you, I'm okay if you go ask that question. I don't think it sways the board that we would give money, particularly when we have money on a greenway to spend in the next agenda item. So I just don't think there's enough here to give them what they want, so.
I will say they were asking for a decision by September. They wanna rush this through. So,
Well, then if they give us a plan, we might look at it, but otherwise,
I'm
that's hilarious.
All right, any comments from y'all?
So I will echo prior statements. One, I do have concerns, the potential impact on light rail. Not saying it's a quid pro quo, definitely not saying that, but I do have that concern. New leadership coming, it doesn't matter, maybe. But no, I agree with David's statement that if your services are getting cut, then there's a concern if you're even gonna use it. So I ride an express bus from Mint Hill and they cut services. And so I don't ride it really anymore. It just doesn't fit my schedule. I would love to, but now I drive to work. So. Sense.
All right, well, I agree with Brad. You can go back and tell them, you don't have any type of proposal. We're not gonna rush it through. I'll be the smart aleck of the group. I'll give them 15,000 if they give us several $1 million for the light rail. Hey, yeah, tell them, hey.
We'll deduct that from there.
Yeah, I'll deduct the 15 grand.
so.
So just to summarize then, what I'm hearing is staff would go back and say, we're open to conversation, but we'd like to see some sort of proposal and evaluation of what you'd like to do. Is that fair?
That's fair enough.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Max.
Thank you.
All righty, Vickery Greenway bid results with Alex. All righty.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, hello again. I'm here tonight to present the bid results from the Vickery Greenway segment. We've been talking about this for a long time, and we're finally here. I know some folks have been on council for several terms. Some, it's their first term, so I added some kind of background just to kind of bring everybody up to speed. Earliest I could find the mention of the Greenway town back in 2011 survey. And during that, when everybody was surveyed townwide, 90% of the respondents indicated that they would like to see more walking trails and greenways. Then looking to the town's comprehensive land use plan, repeatedly searched for a greenway will come up 75 times. There are several goals to that the Vickery subdivision was developed off of Stevens Mill Road near Bowling Park. The developer at the time dedicated property to be used as a town for a trail. And subsequently, the town funded and developed a comprehensive park and greenway master plan. So after that, we developed construction documents. The council authorized us to bid it out. And construction documents, it's 1,900 linear feet trail, 10 foot of asphalt. There's also, one of the concerns I've heard is, hey, this is a dead end, where does this go? And there's actually planned to be a connection here for the development agreement that was approved several years ago. It's the Idlewild mixed use. It's known as ARIA now. And Mr. Sean, can you give a, Mr. Sean? Practice this a couple times. It's supposed to queue up. So ARIA has submitted plans to the town, and they haven't been approved, they've been evaluated. And they told us today they would make sure that our proposed trail and their trail align. We don't want it like this, right? We want them to connect. So that's underway, and I anticipate us being able to make that connection. Part of what's being proposed, there's a little bit of a gap because we need to leave some space for the contractor to work. And our designers advise there's a drainage way right where we need to make it. And you don't want to build kind of half of the bridge. So we need to come back and build a little bit of a connection piece. Both sides are completed. I don't anticipate that being a large expense at all. So why do this? I think the purpose of having this Greenway Trail is a couple things. First, it allows people that live all around here, Fairhaven, to come up and get to the amenities in the shopping center, or the restaurants, etc. And vice versa, this is all going to be developed over here, as well as Stevens Mill. There's going to be a Greenway Trail coming along this road here, and that'll allow all these residents in here to come down and access the park. So I think that was the idea behind the location of having the Greenway there. So as we all know, DOT required us to add a pretty fancy HAWK pedestrian crossing signal that stops traffic there. That's something I'll mention. Also, in working with the previous Vickery HOA leadership, there was a request to add some additional landscaping in what our designers call a pinch point, where the trail comes a little bit closer to the residential lots in one section. So the reason for adding the allowance is because we want to build it, see how wet it is in that area, and then pick the right kind of vegetation that'll be successful. We received the bids on February, June 24th. Given the cost of the project, we had to do a formal bid opening process. And let's just go and look at the bid results here. So we had 3 contractors. That's great. That's the minimum that you want. And JD Gooderham and Company was the lowest bidder. You can see there were several types of the base bid, and then a couple bid alternates. Thermoplastic crosswalk and a gateway signage. What's a thermoplastic crosswalk, right? It sounds like something from Star Trek. Really what it is, it's a decorative crossing across Stevens Mill there. So it wouldn't be brick. DOT doesn't allow brick on the road because of snowplow issues, but it would be imprint. So they mill out that section, heat it up, and while the asphalt is still malleable, come back with a hot press and put it down there. So these kind of roadways, I think about the Chestnut Otter intersection that was there, and they tend to like wear off over time. So we have to probably come back in 10 to 15 years. The second alternate is a nice gateway signage. It's similar to the one over by the Chestnut Greenway. It's the design that the board approved. So that's the second alternate. Unit pricing, it's a wet area, like a lot of greenways, it's in kind of a floodway, typically where these tend to be built. And so with that kind of thing, what we didn't want to do is get in a situation where, hey, the soil is bad in spots. Contractor, how much is it going to take for you to do that, right? Because you don't want to be in a position where the contractor is going to come back and say, well, it's, $1 million. It's like, well, hold on, is this fair enough? So we had the contractors bid out unit pricing for some of the things, for undercutting soil and so a lot of times in government, the lowest responsive bidder can be concerning, right? You never know what you're going to get. But a lowest responsive bidder does seem to be reputable. They've got numerous greenway and parks projects under their belt. The references all checked out positively that we're aware of. They've done some notable projects. The Uptown Park right by the Charlotte Knights baseball stadium, they did that. Well, they've done the second and third phases of the Mecklenburg County Sports right over in Matthews. So if you have a kid of a certain age, you'll all probably been there. So let's talk about necessary budget. So if the council does want to move forward, we've got our base bid here. This is sort of what we would need to do. And staff would recommend probably holding off on throwing a plastic crosswalk to save money. But again, if the council wanted to add that, we could. It's just not necessary to move forward. If we didn't have the decorative crosswalk, it would be your standard white painted straight crossing. The second item would be the gateway signage, just to make that consistent, such that we have the same signage across all our greenways. We've got a landscaping allowance for the Vic Roof pinch point again. And then a phase for a variety of administration, phase services, inspections, geotechnical testing, getting an as-built survey, getting certified. There are folks that will go around to public parks and things like that and put like an angle on it and measure it. And ADA certifications will actually file a lawsuit. So we want to make sure that we're meeting all our requirements. So staff council does want to move forward. Staff would recommend total base B plus alternate 2. You add all those in. You've got a 15% contingency. And the total price is $662,659.85. So as indicated above, and I mentioned previously, you can remove alternate 2, the gateway signage, but everything else is necessary to move the project forward. I would note that sometimes in construction, the only expected thing that can happen is the unexpected. That's why we view as a health contingency for this kind of project. Buildings that are being built, it's pretty straightforward as far as we can know. The only real issue is probably soil. It's a wet, low area. So we're very optimistic that the contingency and everything will be covered in the budget. But there's always the possibility that something completely unforeseen could occur. And if that was the case, we would need to come back to council and have another discussion about that. Our finance officer, unfortunately, is able to be here tonight. So I asked her to write a memo just like what she would say if she were here. And we'll go back to that in a second. But bottom line is we approved a budget for the project of $550,000. The good news is that the base bid came in lower than that. And the bad news is that when you add in all of other necessary things to move forward, it is over budget. At the same time, we will need to move council to move forward to request staff to do an additional budget amendment of $112,660 to cover the difference between the project budget and what we've got. So before we go to our finance officer's financial impact from the situation. Options for the board, so it's real simple. We can either move forward or not. So if we choose not to move forward the project, we would, the bids would expire after, I believe, 30 days. So if we ever wanted to move forward, the plan would have to kind of bid it out again, and depending how long it takes, potentially update the plans again. And depending if it's too long, the easement that we got from Vickery neighborhood could expire. I believe that was 7 years, maybe 5 to 7 years, somewhere in there. If we want to move forward, and award the project to the lowest responsive bidder, then there's several things we need to do. This is something we want to do. You can come back and make sure you, we get the language right. The first is just to approve awarding to the lowest responsive bidder. The second would be to request staff to bring back a budget amendment for an additional amount of just under $113,000. Authorize staff to award the contract to our designer group for inspections, things like that. And then finally, to approve the overall project budget of $662,660.
Yeah, go over the thermoplastic sidewalk again. What was the alternative? I understand thermoplastics, obviously that's the business I'm in. But what was the alternative to a thermoplastic?
It wouldn't be decorative, it would be your traditional white stripe crossing, like you'd see.
Concrete with white stripes?
It wouldn't be concrete, it would be asphalt across the.
So it'd just be the asphalt with the white stripes? Okay.
Just one question. We've already paid for the Hawk system. That was in a,
This includes the cost of the Hawk system in this price.
so, but we've paid the DOT engineering piece? Okay.
We paid for our design fee to get that, and we've also paid for DOT to review the.
Okay. And you know how I feel about that one, so, but, okay. I mean, so it doesn't, this price does include everything soup to nuts. Okay.
I was on the Vickery HOA at the time that this was being discussed. In your pinch point, I live in Vickery, so obviously I was on the HOA. I believe that the residents are under the impression that there's a stretch of privacy fence that's going to extend for 4 homes. And it was actually brought up, I'm going to say at a meeting 2 months ago. I couldn't speak on it at that point, but I would just clarify that because I think they think there's going to be something physical there other than landscaping. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any privacy fence that was going up there. What's the best way to clarify that?
I get asked about it daily from residents. They want a status update on the Greenway, but I know that I think Justin Carco, who you met with numerous times, was the president at that point, and it was in their presentation that there would be some type of privacy fence. So they'll probably just come and ask about that because they're under the impression that that was included. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that to attention, because, yeah, we want expectations to be clear.
It runs pretty close to their, there's 4 homes. I want to say it's like, within 5 feet of their fence line. So it is pretty close. Their property of these 4 homes specifically on Donovan.
We're happy to get the right folks in touch.
Okay.
Any other questions before we get to the finances? All right.
Well, Mary asked a question, or there was an assumption about it being a dead end, and I've always found it helpful, and I don't know how easy this would be, and we may not have time, but I would ask you to, at some point, share with us the site plan for the area project, and what's it called, Idlewild Village or something? That was the first project that I heard as a council member back a couple years ago, It was one of those more controversial apartment deals. You'll remember the height of the building. One of the things I do like, and I think it had already been approved actually by the time I got on the council, I think my discussion was the height of the apartment buildings. But the whole premise of that makes me pleased, if anything, is that the shopping center should get a very nice boost in walk-in traffic. The tenants will upgrade. Nothing wrong with the dollar store, of course, but there are higher and better uses for shopping centers. The other thing I liked about that project was the greenway that was incorporated in the design that went along from the road you mentioned all the way through the wetlands that connected here. So contrary to this being a dead end, I think in 10 years, 5 years even, this is a very active, an extremely active greenway from the shopping center to what would be Blair Mill Park. So I think it's money well spent, notwithstanding Taylor's neighborhood's concerns about the privacy on Donovan. I certainly understand that. So it would be helpful if the council members who are new haven't seen the sketch of their greenway and the plan and the density. Like it or not, density brings a lot of people to things like greenways and shopping centers. I would encourage you to do that, share that with whoever wasn't here.
What is the status, not to get off topic, but I was at the meeting, I actually got up and spoke about the height of the apartment.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because I live on Donovan, so I would see them. We are 4 houses back from the cul-de-sac in Vickery. What is the status of that apartment complex?
As I mentioned before, it's been submitted, but the construction plan is not yet.
Okay.
But
How long do they have? Does it only have like a specific time?
with development agreements, I believe it's a number of years, much longer than your traditional.
It's 5-year increments. I don't recall from that one, but minimum 5 years.
5 years, that's what I remember. But to me, it's sewer. Oh, Max has an answer.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't about to so Aria at Idlewild submitted just for the apartment.
Oh, okay, that's Aria,
They
okay.
did get water and sewer approval for the project. They are on their second review for their construction documents. They've passed all the planning's comments. We're just waiting on engineering comments and the construction documents. Those are gonna start, there's gonna be built, so start building soon. So, I would say there is a greenway all throughout that plan that does connect to that area.
So if you had to put a timeline on it
So for the,
for them to like start construction within a year?
I would say
Thank you.
Well, the other thing, Heather's not here, but I know I've heard her talk about it. Fairhaven is a lot of people in Fairhaven walk up and down Stevens Mill Road, and a lot. And she, is not here to confirm that, but I see them all the time. And so the benefit, as you were saying, in 10 years, it's going to bring a lot of traffic to the, already, once we have it built, to the shopping center there, so. So go ahead, let's get with the finances, because I'll go ahead and say, I'm all right with the thermoplastic sidewalk.
So real quick, I do have a question. Aria, is that gonna be in Stallings?
Yes.
And, I mean, are we sure that their greenway is gonna connect with this greenway? Because that's my big concern is I don't wanna have roads to nowhere, walkways to
There's a
nowhere.
gap, but explain there is a gap between their greenway grant and this one, but that,
Drainage way. We're not there yet. We need to get them both built and then we need to come in. But we've spoken with the developer and where they've got it and where this is lined up is really close.
How much, do we know how much that connection's gonna be? Going over water sounds expensive.
It's so wet back there, but you said that traditionally greenways are wetlands, right? But it is so wet, it's never dry.
I'm just saying, I know we have an item coming up later that's
Yeah.
250 feet, that's $50,000. So I'm curious, how wide is this gap and what's it gonna cost? Do we
What our
know?
design folks told me is that
20 feet between the two greenway connections?
So again, they haven't fully engineered theirs out, so we're speaking in generalities and conceptually in a sense. But they would try to, we would make them bring it to the property line as close as we can. So my understanding from talking to the design folks, it's approximately 20 feet or so from our building to the property line. So if that'd be the case, it'd be somewhere around 20.
All right, any other questions? Alex, all right, appreciate that information. So,
Mayor, you were saying the thermoplastic, you're in favor of keeping that in the budget?
well, because of the aesthetics
Yeah.
and the upkeep, asphalt's gonna be, have to be replaced more often. Thermoplastics will last a long time. Plus, if it's red, I don't know what color it'll be, I know it'll look nice.
I like the, I support that.
I mean, you can get it in any color, put it in Stallings colors or something like that.
Well,
What are Stallings colors? There's like a bunch of them.
bunch of them.
Yeah, pick one, yeah.
There, yeah, pick your color.
Yeah, pick the blue.
Okay.
I think it also, the more colorful that thing is, I mean, that road is a pretty high traffic road, and even with the,
Fly on that road.
yeah, it'd be
Yeah, they do.
something more
They
visually.
go so fast. It's so hard pulling out of our neighborhood.
But it'll have the Hawk crosswalk there, so that should help.
Stoplights barely make a difference here in Charlotte. So anything that takes and slows people down.
All right.
So the town, we never received the bids. The gap between 662,660, the total estimated project cost to be a little more if we added the thermoplastic crosswalk. The budget that we got in there was 550, so it's 112,660 is the difference. I'm just going to read from the memo. I think it's probably the best way to do it because the details matter. Current Vickery Greenway funding includes $426,800 restricted funds in lieu of parkland and $123,200 of unrestricted fund balance. The additional funding needed of $112,660 can be appropriated from either unrestricted fund balance or by increasing ARPA funds transferred to the general fund. Since the town has chosen revenue replacement for the ARPA funds, we can take the transfer into the general fund up to $2 million. The amount ARPA funds already appropriated is $1.6996 million, which would have enough to cover the unfunded balance. Fund balance projections for June 30th are as outlined. All of those, but I will note the unassigned fund balance is at June 30th, 2022, $6,302,102. Overall fund balance is projected to increase by $2,670,460, even with the purchase of the Olden Road investment property. If we remove the effects of the ARPA funds, fund balance increases by $97,775. I feel that the town can afford to use an additional amount needed for the Vickery Greenway without jeopardizing the financial position of the town. Subsequent year expenditures and 20% additional reserves will be met, and the unassigned fund balance would remain at an amount over $6 million going into fiscal year. In summary, the town can comfortably move forward and approve the additional funding needed. Approve the budget amendment will be presented.
All right.
Guidance submitted by Ms. Gross.
All right, the question I got is, so we'll take the, to me, we'll take the 112,660,000 from ARPA. That would be my suggestion. Can we take the 123,200 from ARPA funds? Where that says it's coming from unrestricted fund balance.
I don't know if it touches on that additional amount. I would think that we could, and the reason I say that is because it
says that the amount of ARPA funds already appropriated is just under 1.7 million.
Yeah, so we have,
And the general fund, we can do up to 2 million. So obviously, if you take the approximately 113 and you add in the approximately, what was the amount?
123,
123 and change,
so you're at
then
340.
that should be less than $300,000. I say that,
240.
but if we wanted to do that, I'd want to, work with our team, our finance team, and want to bring it back, double check.
Sure. Well, that'd be my recommendation to the council. We might as well use as much ARPA funds as we can, get this thing done.
I'd support that, yeah.
Did you say what the timing was? Like, we approved this tonight? You asked about the other Greenway, but what would be the timing on this?
Yeah, good question. I asked the same question when I was speaking with the person who would be the project manager. And they indicated that they would try to knock it out in 6 months. There would probably be a mobilization period you want to add with this. I think for them, it's not a big project. The issue you might have, I feel a lot more confident in that 6 month projection if it was February or March right now, right? We're going in and having our wedding, but July, pre-award it, all the legal mechanisms.
So as far as tonight is concerned, the details, ARPA funding and all that, I think you just need to hear from the council whether we want to go ahead and move that. Well, the other thing is, $426,000 of this, as you said, in it, is fees in lieu of parkland. Right, so that's not coming out of, our line item. I know we're spending a lot of money, but it's money that's not a tax revenue. So, anybody have any questions for, on this project? Good to go?
Yeah, I feel like we've already
Yeah, we talked about it.
virtually spent it already because
All
we've
right,
been
so-
talking about it for so long.
Well, can I get a motion from the council regarding the Vickery Greenway?
Mayor, if you want to move forward, I've got some suggestions. I did want to confirm, I heard some input that we may want to add the
Yeah, okay, let's go ahead and decide that. So let's get a consensus. Graham, what do you think?
I mean, I'm all for saving money.
Okay,
Add it.
you want to add it?
I'll go with the majority. I haven't, this,
All right,
this is the placemat principle. I don't have a strong pull either way.
okay. Brad's for it,
Yeah, do the
David's
complete.
for it.
I'm for it. I like the colorful idea, though.
Yeah, having it blue or something.
Yeah,
All
it'll
right.
stand out, but
All right,
yeah.
so the consensus is majority wants to have it. Add the thermoplastic crosswalk.
Okay. So, we'll need to, take that alternate to,
Would there be room for discussion of the fence? Like a
Yeah,
10-foot stretch of
yeah,
fence?
I was gonna
It's just
follow
4 homes.
Yeah, absolutely. My thinking would be this, is, let me first go back and chat with, our design team and make sure it's not in there, right? There's kind of little itty gritty details. I probably wouldn't be as aware of it, so it might be in there. If it,
I think they were wanting to match another fence that was already up, so it's just a wooden fence. It's not any fancy material. Just to make it compliant with the cohesiveness of what's already in the community. But it's just 4 homes that, I mean, it's within 5 feet of the greenway. I mean, it's their fence line, excuse me. So it's very close.
let me ask this, would the board be comfortable in adding, a little budget for doing that, just in case, to add those 4 fences?
Well, adding back in the thermoplastic crosswalk, we're at 252K. So we still have, I can't imagine.
What if you proposed to Vickery that maybe they help?
Yeah, that'd be an option. You know, we could, we've got $15,000 for the landscape budget, set out in the proposed budget. So, what we could do is just try to take that money and stretch it as long as we can to add that fence there, just knowing, we might do a little mess of landscaping there.
And, let's go ahead and get this thing approved, and then you can talk to, Mr., how you pronounce his last name?
It's Carco.
Justin Carker, yeah.
Yeah, I know Justin, I got that part.
That's the easy part.
All right.
It's spelled like Carcow, but it's pronounced Carco. Is Justin what?
Is he one of the homes that lives right there?
It actually is one of the homes on Donovan. He's not right there, but I know that they're about to break ground on a pool, and so it would clear a lot of the privacy that they do have, but he's like on the corner of Vickery and Donovan. Sorry. So,
I think we will figure it out. I mean, we've got $1,000, we'll figure it out.
the fourth home's like kind of, but I know that there's three specifically that are gonna be a stone throw away.
So we got 15, let me go back to the design team, see what is there. And then, we'll figure out a way to make it work.
Thank you.
Contingency funds, when we go there, it'll probably be after it's all finished, right?
Correct.
Start all doing
Correct.
landscaping. So we may have some money, and if the board's comfortable with doing that, then we can move forward if there's money left over.
Mr. Sewell, would this be on the town's, the easement, or would this be on the property of the
Great
homeowners?
question. I wouldn't want to do it if it's on the property owner's side, just from a liability perspective. If it was on our side, I'd be more apt to recommend it.
Thank you, Melanie. Yeah. All right, can I get a motion to approve the base bid plus alternate 1 and 2? Let's don't put a number on it because it might change.
Here's the number right here.
You had 681, 760, and 72 cents right now, but it could change, so that's what I need a motion on.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Scholl, second by Ms. Drake. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Aaron? All right. Thank you, Alex.
But Mayor, if I may, there's a couple other housekeeping items associated with this. So
Okay.
that motion, I missed, I'm sorry, to authorize awarding the contract to J.D. Goodrum.
Yes.
Both alternates. Okay, thank you. And then, obviously, we would cap into the contingency if we needed to, if something unusual happened. For fencing, right? The second thing is, I would ask that y'all request staff to bring back a budget amendment for the additional amount. The difference is gonna be a little bit more than 113,000.
It'll be 8.
And, then I can mention all of these and you can do them all in one motion.
Okay.
So, again, request staff to bring back a budget amendment for the additional difference, 550,000, the amount that's been set. The second item there would be to authorize the town manager to award the contract for contract administration, phase service, base inspections, et cetera, 35,980 to destination design, town attorney approval and alterations. And then finally, to approve the overall project budget of $681,761.
All right, can I get a motion on that? As
So moved.
motion to Mr. Scholl, second by Ms. Drake. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, unanimous. All right.
Thank you. Next steps, I'll work to get all the traditional mechanisms moving, and I'll reach out to our design firm for their understanding of what the victory accommodations would be, and work with Ms. Gray on how to work through that.
All right.
We just need to make sure it's on our side of the fence.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Alex.
got one more, actually.
Oh, yeah, the
Not quite done with it.
Lawyers Road roundabout sidewalk.
So, the DOT is doing a roundabout, project, at the intersection of Emerald Lake, Hawthorne, and Lawyers Road. Pushed back for quite some time, but DOT is advising now that they would like to, let this in October. And because of that, I'm just gonna go to the map. You can see the gap we're talking about here. Typically, when DOT has projects, if there's a sidewalk in it and they have to tear out the project, then DOT will pay to replace that sidewalk. However, typically, a DOT does not add new sidewalks. So if you look at where the roundabout's gonna be, it's gonna go right there. And DOT is showing crossings in the roundabout right here. The gap, and the reason we wanted to bring this to your attention, notice that the residents who live in this if they wanted to get on the sidewalk and walk up Lawyers Road towards the shopping center, they would not be able to do that while staying on a sidewalk or a crosswalk. We would need to get a connection, a sidewalk right here. Cost estimate is between $40,000 to $55,000 to add the sidewalk that's needed. DOT has advised that that's what the cost estimate is, that includes design, inspection, and construction. But that if the cost was above that estimated amount, the town would be on the hook for paying for it. So really, what I'm seeking from the board is, do we want to commit to that? Project forward. If we did, then we would go back to DOT, say, yes, we're interested, and then develop an interlocal agreement between the town and NCDOT. If we're not, then that would be it. The project would continue without it, and gap would remain.
All right, well, I'm gonna call on Mr. Hall first, since it's his district, and see, get his opinion.
Yeah, so, I mean, I actually looked at it earlier, and I have some just logistical concerns when they put it in, because there's like a light post, and then there's not light post, but there's power lines that they're gonna have to maneuver around, but then there's like a drop off into, I don't know what it is, it's just like,
a little church.
yeah, like a ditch. So I mean, it's just gonna be a logistical nightmare, but I'll just say it, I mean, 250 feet for potentially $50,000 seems exorbitant. I don't see people coming out of EPCON or turning left, walking up, going across the street, and then going back the way they came, essentially. I just don't see it happening. If anything, they would just, I feel like, go across the street where they're at. I don't want to speak for them.
But no,
$1,000 for one or two people to use this.
so nobody in EPCON has contacted you about it?
I've never heard anyone mention it, and no. I will say, I mean, that sidewalk on the other side gets used. I see plenty of people using it, but I think it's like Country Woods and some of my neighborhood. I've never had anyone tell me, hey, why isn't this sidewalk completed?
Well,
We as a town have been trying to get, or thinking about, I don't know how hard we've been trying, but we've certainly been talking about completing the sidewalk all the way down to the right, to the end of the Stallings. Forget the name of that subdivision down there, but they've been clamoring for it for years. And I look at it as, okay, there's a little bit of a help getting it to at least Emerald Lake. And those folks coming out of Emerald Lake the EPCON can get on and get to the crosswalk. That's a terrible place to cross out of their entrance. To go, if they wanted to walk to anything in the shopping center, I've crossed that, and it's taking your life in your hands. So if you get down to the crosswalk, the new crosswalk there at the Emerald Lake, it will do two things. It'll get people, I think they'll be a little more safe, and I think it'll help us get inch closer to the end of the Stallings sidewalks there that we talked about.
But what sidewalk are you trying to build out?
Down to Buckingham?
Yeah, that's it.
So Emerald Lake down to Buckingham.
Right.
So you don't need that connection Because this is a connection just to get the people from EPCON. That connection doesn't lead anywhere. So this is only for EPCON. Because the only sidewalk is on the other side. Trust me, I use it. I wish there was one on my side, because then I wouldn't have to cross the road where I do, but I do. And like you said, I take my life in my hands.
Yeah.
I see plenty of people doing that. But that sidewalk dies at EPCON, essentially, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this discussion. They could just come out of EPCON, turn right.
Right. Yeah, the whole sidewalk's on the other side of the
Yeah,
street.
so
You know
that's,
that.
I mean, we're talking about 250 feet, $50,000 for EPCON, and I don't really see people ever walking out of there. And I've never been contacted by anyone saying, hey, we'd love to be able to get across the street.
And we can always build it after the roundabout's done. I mean, it's not like you can't build it after the project's completed, so.
Well, is that roundabout, I mean, does it have, when we say a crosswalk, I mean, we're not talking about just painted lines across the road. It's gonna actually have, buttons and stoppage.
Probably
I
not.
don't know.
I mean, the reason why,
I can pull up a map.
It's just a roundabout. It won't have a signal.
any signals. So I mean, I'm sort of with you. It's like, I'm not really sure I get the advantage of walking down to the roundabout if there's no signals. It's not like it's gonna stop traffic or, I mean,
Yeah, there's no signal.
yeah. I mean, from a completist point of view, I mean, I can definitely see putting it in, but
Is EPCON a 55 and older community without children or no?
Yes.
So there are no children.
So this year, as things are being tight, I agree with Graham. It's a tight year, but we can look at this another year.
All right, I agree.
I'll defer to the district rep. I think that's a good call.
And the other concern, Alex, go back to the other map that you had up a few minutes ago. Yeah. See that space to the lower left of the red square? That's the location, isn't that right, Max, where the new
Yeah.
EPCON project might want to be right in there?
Annexation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this area is going to change. It won't look at all like this in 3 or 4 or 5 years. If we approve it, I mean, I'm not saying we are, but if that's their proposal, is another EPCON project directly across. It seems to me, logically, we'd want the entrances of both to align across from each other.
No doubt. And have to have a signal.
Which would then solve our problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
If they do a signal or they
Uh,
do
you'd
another
have-
roundabout.
You'd have to have a signal. I'm not a transportation expert, but
because that is just enough of a bend in the road there that people come flying.
they fly, trucks fly down that road.
You're not.
You're not gonna get a signal that close to a roundabout, though, I don't think.
I don't know.
It'd be interesting to see, but Chestnut has one not too far away, actually.
Yeah.
well, I mean, you make a good point. Does it make, playing devil's advocate here, does it make sense to go back to DOT and say, hey, look, I mean, potentially, we could have a new subdivision going into this lot. Does it make sense to even build that,
Yeah.
knowing that there may need to be a signal right there? I mean, it just sounds to me like it might be worth a
Conversation, yeah.
conversation, yeah.
A good point.
The roundabout wasn't requested by anybody. It was a
No.
state mandated roundabout.
Some engineer in Raleigh, that was a good idea.
Yeah, they use what's called spot safety funds to
You know, it got a lot of attention when a girl jumped out in the road, you know,
Okay.
killed.
So I wonder if a traffic impact analysis study of a new proposed EPCON would require a signal there or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alex?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, let the mayor say yeah.
Just, you see that big empty line with the easement? Proposed in the Greenway Master Plan?
Yeah.
Where the development is, they're proposing a 14-foot multi-use path along.
In that green,
Yep. In that big, you know, the easement line.
going where?
Just show them the mouse. That big easement line in the middle of the grasses. Yeah, there.
Going where? Okay.
That's just a proposal, but, I just wanted to let you guys know too. That's on the Greenway Master Plan for.
Okay.
Good idea. Yeah, because Southstone people have already called me. They thought it was gonna be apartments gonna be built there. They were freaking out. So, because they're already surveying it.
Oh, are they?
Mhm.
Wow, that's fast.
So I guess the courtyard's at Emerald Lake, with the style out there in the future. Cross.
Well, they would,
Well, if we talk to DOT, like Steven said, it just makes perfect sense to put the intersections across from each other. All right. Well, I think, I don't think we're gonna get a motion on the sidewalk, the 250 feet, unless somebody wants to make one. All right. Yep.
Not right now.
Yeah, talk to them about the,
Explain to them that, well, part of
reason
our
why, yeah.
reasoning is there's a new one that's being proposed that's gonna be right there.
Yeah, I think.
put the money towards that intersection, a light.
Well, that was
As Dave
slow.
said, that road, you know, I've tried for years to get them to reduce the speed limit to 35, and they turn me down because it doesn't affect the safety crashes, but, I mean, I lived in Country Woods East for 5 years, and Graham, you know how much traffic's on, it's a speedway, and it's all downhill from 485, so.
Development came in right there. But I believe it would trigger.
Not showing entrance right across.
Where do their entrance? But,
how can I get closer?
Where?
but, I mean, up,
Oh, it goes, their property would go across that easement line?
Yeah,
oh, okay, I got you.
Oh, I see. Okay.
it goes, I think, all the way, almost up to that dentist office. You know, the dentist office, yeah.
On the hill, yeah.
So the TIA would evaluate what the most appropriate.
Hard time finding it. Oh, there's an easement. So they got all that property too. So it would be up here, you're right. So that's what we're seeing.
All right,
I think for the immediate project, the DOT just, we wanted to not.
That's where we want it.
Well, I mean,
Right.
but I mean,
Got
that
all
could,
that property to work with.
they spend that money and put that round
don't
front
have
in there.
this.
I mean, it just seems like that would
All this.
cause more grief, wouldn't it?
Well, what's the rent?
That's an easement. I don't know what that is actually.
Those are
That's-
parcels.
But I mean, maybe it doesn't even make sense though for them to put it in. If there's gonna have
That's
to
what
be,
they own.
No DOT.
So
yeah,
they must be buying this too.
you already said that they
meet with them on
they won't come to an intersection.
Wednesday, I guess it is.
all righty.
Something you don't have to.
Thank you, Alex, Max,
No, they don't want it.
everybody.
At all, but
But it might be because they.
Chief, you gotta get family life.
Flood zone, it may not be able to engineer. But yeah, talk to them about it.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I know you got one, but you must enjoy your coworkers.
Yeah, thanks.
Mayor, was there a second?
Oh, did somebody second?
Yes.
Just pick one.
That clerk's choice.
Clerk's choice, yeah.
Bye.
Hope you're feeling better.